Hey, what's up, guys? We are back at it again with another fucking upload. This one is Yu Pak versus Lycans or Lycans, however he would prefer it pronounced at this point. Fairly familiar with both players, teamed with them for this, that, the other. Good players, I believe. I want to say they're both 2-0 right now, so this is a pretty, hype game. Both bring some pretty interesting material. Right off the bat, Lycans brought a Pokemon that has exhibited, well, some intrigue amongst the player base, but not really has seen much tournament application, I would say, being the, showing just from Protect alone. One might posit it is the freaking Parish Trap set. It's the name of the bitch. Thank you, me, for figuring that one out. And that is interesting in that it is both a potential grass immune, helping with a moderate superior weak. Obviously, Alolan Muck from both players, cool. Is interesting, but yeah. So there we go. There's the Whirlpool. That is indicative of a Parish Trapping set. And he's not going for it, which, okay, yeah, I was figuring that his second Whirlpool was scouting the U-turn, and the fact that, of course, Pack started instigating the sequence in the first place is something to think about there. Now, looking at the teams themselves, I feel like it is interesting to note. I think that Lycans was looking at Azumarill contextually as a tool to remove something like a Tentacruel to set up Cobalion, as generally that is a fairly decent initial switch. It can also help out removing bulky waters, things like, in the stall matchup. If you can play your bluff right, it can potentially lend itself to trapping a Alamomola, for instance. And that would make sense there, though Pack is more of a bulky offense player, and this is the kind of team I would kind of expect from him going in. Moltres is an interesting pick. It is something that I think gets talked about a lot, but it is not really played all that much. I've seen Pearl execute on it a couple times. Apologies, I have a dog. I'm gonna try real quick to solve it. Okay, back at it. If you didn't hear that, then whoops, I squandered my time for you. And he threw that. But Moltres, yeah, so this kind of makes sense, being that Pack is on Pearl's team, to feed some context to that. It's interesting more on the merit that it's not particularly unique as a, beefy special nuke. There are plenty of Pokemon like that in the tier, but the defensive capabilities it brings to a team are pretty valid. Being able to check the Cobalion, the Scizor, and all that, on top of the fact that its stab combination is a bit of a bitch. Obviously, if you can connect with your Hurricanes, a lot of the waters tend to fold in these kind of situations, and this exhibits itself pretty clearly in this, where you have something like an Empoleon, which is a good loose check, a Azumarill, which is a loose check, plus the AV Muck, and everything kind of struggles because of Moltres' power and sustainability in conjunction with one another. So definitely a unique pick there. Unfortunately, squandering that Z move there as a means to, keep the Chandelure and Azumarill honest is tough, but we'll see if that comes into play. I am kind of curious what the Chandelure is, honestly, on this team, because I would assume Specs, just because there's a real lack of immediate breaking power, and I think that they kind of make that concession of not using the Scarf set, especially in a meta like this, where it's just not that great. Like the 80 speed tier, hitting that 426 speed, it's cool, but it doesn't really get what you want out of it most of the time. But I'm just speaking really broadly now because, there's a lot to digest here. I think these are some pretty cool teams, really nifty, and that's fine. I think that, Pac's got kind of a tough situation as far as trying to break because his booster of choice, CM Ladias, one might imagine, is going to be struggling to break this team. Something like, the Z Electric Ladias, which has seen a fair amount of play. It's, a really good tech. It circumvents a lot of, traditional dragon resistances, but on a team like this that, even with the double steals or triple, or double steal, single fairy, you still got on top of that the Muckalola, which is, this is just like one of the worst situations for Elias to come up against, especially if it's not that particular variation, which this very well might not be. I mean, tough call, but I think that Pac's method of victory at this point will be presumably pushing aggressively into the muck via his Latias to get it into the point of Moltres being able to, pick it off and run through the rest. Of course, Lycans can make things happen here by PP stalling Fire Blast. That's going to be tough for Pac to really get through when he is relying so heavily on Hurricanes in a matchup like this. And of course, not conceding an absolutely free turn to the Moltres, because of course this Gliscor is bound to have a special defense investment. That is a kind of a meandering ass Gliscor, but it's able to take that one hit, toxic the Moltres, and keep it down. And Pac's having a little trouble setting this thing up for victory, but we do see the Sandalore. Are we going to see the Specs? Oh, we're going to see, that is a hard Scarf Chandelure. He went for the HP Ice, trying to, punish that Scout a lot of people will make in that situation, but yeah, judging from that pittance of damage and obviously the neutral hit, we're gonna be seeing that, and goes to the Fire Blast. A lot of people have been switching over to Fire Punch with the inception of Z moves and the like, but for my money, Fire Blast is still by and far the best variation on it. And Pac makes a aggressive read, predicting the muck. As I said, I'm not 100% on that because, again, I feel like he does need to eventually just go ahead and force that trade. And Moltres does get that, so that's going to alter his game plan quite a bit. Okay, never mind. Maybe I overstated how much SPDEF that Gliscor is running. Gliscor is just wildly versatile in what kind of EV spreads it can opt for, and personally, I am not too keen on a lot of them. So many of them are running like those extremely fast, outpace Nidoking spreads, which, I mean, it's cool, but it also hurts so much when Nidoking is like, it feels like a counter team pick all the time for me. So when you get things like that, it's just, I don't care for it. But I digress. We are seeing Pac just struggle to make his dent in this Gliscor, which is something for sure. But it's tough because with a stealth rocking Gliscor on a Gliscor, Lycans has nothing to lose by simply just, letting it play out and without anything to actually push for it. I think that Pac's just going to have to... at some point, he's just going to have to cut the bullshit and go into his own Azumarill and try to just slam him with some waterfalls, which is not a bad position, honestly. I mean, the fact that this Azumarill has been able to recover up as is, a testament to the move Protect. Protect, fantastic move. One of the best in the game, easily. Um, but hey, looks like Shake lucked according to the team chat. I was watching NJMP versus Shake, and it was a fuck. So I decided to record this instead. But yeah, we'll check that out later. Notwithstanding, I am. Yeah, I don't like the position that Pac has allowed himself to get into here, because now Lycans can just sort of dawdle around, do whatever. But he does go for the Paris song, so he's going to force himself out, and that's something that I think honestly favors Pac as much as anyone else. But he doesn't go for the U-turn. I don't understand why he's not trying to stir up some momentum here. What would he do? Like, ugh, I don't know. I'm not a fan. But Lycans trying to, exploit these constant doubles that are being made. Maybe he has Stone Edge. He does. Oh wow, that's cool. Okay, so that was a smart read, but I think he telegraphed it way too heavy the way he played it out. Stone Edge, pretty uncommon. Most people will just say, hey, this Cobalion's dual stabs are usually sufficient in like 9 out of 10 matchups. I'm just going to incorporate some utilities, your Magnet Rise, your Rock Polish for, in gaming and offense, etc., etc. And that's something that I can conceivably see from this, considering that, a lot of PAX teams would be like bulky offense with, say, like a Scarf Hydreigon or something like that, something that would be able to get punished if he allowed those kind of concessions to really come up. But right now we're just going to be seeing more of that Moltres on Gliscor sequence. I'm not sure what he's striving for here. I really think he should just be using those stealth rocking turns to bring in his Azumarill and just try to smash him up a bit. Like, the only thing that he's losing in doing so is forcing that Azumarill, forcing the Azumarill of Lycans, that is. Seriously, you can U-turn. He's really just. I feel he is letting himself be exploited with these sequences and letting all these Pokemon that he took so much time weakening just get back up to full via these, double protects, etc., etc., etc. And just go to Azumarill, man. It's cool. Like, he's not going to Toxic at this point in the game. And if you really feel some way about it, you can U-turn on the Gliscor, and it'll be totally fine. Like, he can afford to do that. Azumarill taking 12% is better than Azumarill getting Toxicked. But, I don't know, man. This is weird. Alright, are we going to see a U-turn? Are we going to... Thank you for doing something. So, honestly, with this, I would say, yeah, go to Aggron. I can only imagine it has to be Adamant at this point, and being able to... Oh. I don't understand that one. What? Really? What is he trying to catch here? These sequences are not behooving him at all, and now he is put in this position where he has to try to roost on the Gliscor that has at least a little liberty to EQ into him. I feel like he is letting himself be disadvantaged by this situation. Yeah, okay, so maybe... No, he's doubling again. Like, you have to commit to something. This is not gonna get you anywhere, dude. I don't feel like this is... And then, again, this is another situation where Lycans has some liberty to just, like, eat the 1 EQ, go into Torrent range, and Scald for 1,000,000, and that's... Like, what are you looking for to get out of this in the end game? I can't imagine what your mindset would be at this point. Now Like, he's doubling to keep Muck honest, I get that. But in the same breath, okay, so yeah, it is, okay, that, I was, sorry, I really, because I was a little frustrated, I, was failing to neglect that this is probably, looking at how it's been, played to this point, probably a Scarf Latias, and, I mean, yeah, the fact that he played it that way kind of telegraphed as much, so he was able to go for that protect with the Empoleon rather than try to scout and be concerned about a CM set. And now, of course, it presents the risk of just go to Cobalion, which, honestly, what reason does he have to not do that? He can just, Pock will go to Gliscors, he goes to his own Gliscors, he does a U-turn and doesn't go to his own Azumarill because he doesn't think he can get advantage from that, which, I mean, now he can't because he let his Empoleon HP itself back up to 1,000,000. Alright, so there is the Azumarill, though. Now, I mean, he can... Okay, so yeah, he goes for the safe liquidation, which, I mean, yeah, I didn't even... I neglected to mention this, but yeah, what liquidation is kind of a ridiculous move. Like, if you can get a defense drop into that Empoleon, it will do ridiculous damage for you. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that he has now given Lycans a lot of options. For example, right now, he doesn't need to keep Empoleon healthy anymore. He can afford to take that Earthquake, go down low, and Scald for the KO because, I mean, maybe I'm overstating Gliscor. Maybe he doesn't go into Torrent from that, but still, like, there's no reason for him not to put that on blast at this point. And, yeah. I do not know, guys. This is looking kind of open and shut to me. Perhaps he can double Aggron here on the Cobalion, knowing that he... Okay, no. Oh. Okay. Alright, so, this kind of course, cycles back to the fact that he could have been doing this the whole time, but instead chose to do this Moltres Gliscor dance. Like, it's frustrating. I am sorry, guys. But that's alright. He goes for the trick again, and I think he just, like, tries to spring it at this point because... no, he really can't, though, because if Cobalion does get that free SD, it's really tough for him. What would have been dope, I think, from Lycans, and is to actually... Oh, but he does go for it. And that's fine. If this is Z Corkscrew Z Corkscrew Crash, this picks one up now. But otherwise, I think he just goes ahead and... just goes for the Iron Head. There's no real risk. But, okay, he is going for it. And are we going to see the Z Steel? Pock might double the Moltres to scout it. We do see... Yeah, Z-Steel, nice. Okay, so that was a good sequence. That is fine. I am reconstituting myself after that somewhat frustrating mid-game. But, yeah, Pock goes for that now, and you know what, I really failed to I neglected to mention how I was not a fan of the Gliscor play. Like, I think that for all his ability to, maneuver Azumarill into a healthy amount of HP, he has shown that it is possible to have that Azumarill pivot the play rough, if it does go for play rough, and get back to a decent amount. So, whereas, of course, Gliscor, if it comes in on a bad read, it's down and out, really, because it, Okos. So, and now switching into this Gliscor is a problem. He had to really play off that being the moment where he picks it off. But now we've got a pretty tough situation, because this Azumarill can't trap it. Everything else is ground weak. I mean, Peck might just, be able to sit on this. So that's, I think that might be the misplay that ends up sealing Lycan's game, despite a very strong showing in the mid-game with that, maneuvering, and I'm just moving my mouse rapidly, and that must be frustrating for some people. I'm sorry. I just do it habitually, and it should not happen during the games, so I'm sorry about that. I don't see why he U-turned there, though, because, there's no... Oh! Right. That was the final move on these Azumarill nowadays. I forgot. So unfortunately, I don't think that he has anything to really press the Empoleon right now, or at least in that most direct sense. But okay, he just stays in anyway. So I was going to say that most Azumarill nowadays are running Ice Punch because of the increasing demand for a Pokemon such as Amoonguss that really, hard checks a lot of that kind of thing. But he, I don't agree with him committing there, but it doesn't hurt him. He doesn't get punished for it. I guess, you know what, that's probably okay, because if Azumarill trades with Empoleon, Aggron has a lot of liberty to just, mash through shit. Ugh. And has his Muck has not taken any damage, because it was not pressed to do anything really in this game. But okay. Yeah, I don't agree with that Latias. I mean, it's Latias. It's not gonna be doing a fucking thing in this matchup anyway, which is crazy. This is the most Latias-proofed team, outside of, again, the Z Electric being able to force some chip on key members. Okay, so he's instead going with the angle of EQing in with the Aggron and trying to get his Guap that way, trying to, end game with the combination of these two. I think, that's probably fine. I'm trying to read whether or not it would have been better to try to commit with him or Azumarill for this end game, and I think he doesn't know if there's going to be a opposing Fire Blast Muck, because I know that I've brought up with Lycans before that I don't care for, or how much I appreciate Fire Blast Muck, and that Skull Burn is going to be tough, because of course it means that Empoleon lives when it was, looks like a rule to die, but, oh, it seems like Shake lucked again, but it's crazy how that game is still happening. Whatever. Maybe I will discuss that game in a non, full replay capacity, because that I think is, if anything, interesting. I don't want to do anything like Shake's own what was it, Lucky and Bad series, because that feels like something that doesn't play to my strengths as a narrator. But just those kind of things where you can discuss and have forum for ideas. But I don't know, man. Also, he has U-turn and he isn't using U-turn. I don't understand what he feels he is risking by not using that move. It's chip and guarantee that he doesn't double on you. I don't understand. I mean, this is something of a play-making opportunity, I suppose. How much did Earthquake do to freaking thing? I can't find it. Maybe it's not within the immediate future. I'm pretty sure I saw like 25% with Earthquake. So what could always happen here is just that Pack commits to, one turn of not getting Scald Burned and connecting with a Play Rough, which is tough, but, an option, because, this barely, narrowly survives. He goes for the, he goes for the Protect, because why wouldn't he? And of course, he goes for Protect here. I can't imagine Pac trying to pivot the Gliscor in here and now, because that would do oh wow, that was pretty impressive. I would not personally try to pull the trigger on that kind of play. That's quite a move. He still does go for the Protect again, obviously, because it gives him a little bit more leniency in this and that. And now, at this point, I think that his game plan is looking to PP stall, and that might just happen. Of course, what with Liquidation being a pretty odds-based move, it can push through shit. I think that it is still well within Lycans' ability to, or Pac's ability to push through, even if that doesn't happen, obviously. There's a lot of odds going into this endgame, which is pretty interesting. I could see it coming down to things like Iron Head flinches, Liquidation, defense drops, which is impressive. I think that, while there are some weird mid-game sequences that I wasn't too keen on, I like what this came down to. I can only imagine that he would sack it into Leon. Yeah, that felt jam-batty because, he switched as I was saying that, and I could read the text, but please bear with me and, at least consider that I actually was gonna say that, but, he does go to Azu here, and he protects as there's no reason for Pac not to, just say, hey, I'm gonna commit to this. And you know what I think might be the play? I think that Pac goes to Gliscor here on the rest, U-turns, and then throws Liquidation to, fish for those defense drops, because that is, I think, the safest. Yeah, that's the safest win, because it keeps the option open of, say, picking off this Azumarill with a Play Rough, should it be resting, anything like that. And it also really gives him liberty to play around this however he wants. He U-turns into the Azumarill, throws Liquidations as many times as he likes, and, if he can't get his drops, or if he is worried it's going to wake up and Whirlpool him, he can just, hard switch back to Gliscor, and him doubling to Cobalion won't do a thing for him in that situation. So that might be his move. Okay, never mind, he just crits. I lied to you. I don't think that was the play. I recall it doing... Oh, I did recall it doing... Yeah, so I recall it doing 60 before. That is, So I stand by that being the play. He can still win, though. It's flinch reliant, sure, and also has some impact on what the Gliscor is. Something like an Impish Gliscor might very well just fucking sit on it anyway for 2, and he would need extra flinch. But, you know, yeah, okay, that does eat. And he's going to go for the flinch, and do we get it? We're looking, and yes, we do see it. So that's a bit rough. I, again, stand by the fact that that was kind of the play, but it did end up with that same end game of, you know, oh, he has to do this. Azumarill, I think, still can eat, though. So, and Jet doesn't KO. It depends on Azumarill spreads, because I know that a lot of people are fans of, like, really fast Azumarill, and I get the notion behind it. You know, obviously, you know, creeping a Suicune, or at least keeping it honest to the point of, you know, like, forcing it to run those 96 EVs. But, it does live. Okay, so, yeah, that is the game. Really interesting. I, again, feel like, him just going for that and keeping, or going for that sequence I touched upon, and going for that sequence I touched upon, wherewith he preserves that one play rough PP, is something, but I think that it doesn't really detract from the fact that this is a really interesting game, and I ended up mixing up my words a lot, as I do, because I'm not real good at this fucking thing. Yeah, they're kind of talking it through, which, you know, that's fine. I believe that this was a pretty tight series, so it's kind of understandable that they're both feeling some way about it, but, you know, Puck walks away. I'm gonna call him a piece of shit for that mid-game sequence, but I enjoyed the rest of it. Hope you guys did too. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next thing I do. Deuces.